Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were not just rivals in the movie biz, they were out to get each other.
I mean, as soon as I saw him, it was like, bang. Two alphas hitting.
At first,
They tried to get out of
it was all about the Benjamins.
Every time I read this, I just got the new record number, $10 million. Son of a bitch.
And then, the rivalry just got insane.
We ended up kind of like, you killed 28 people in the movie. I killed 32.
I gotta top that.
For the first time, these two icons sit down together and confess things each did to torpedo the other.
You talked to my director.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Over time, they bonded and became brothers in arms.
I wish I could be as passionate about things as he is.
Is that true?
And you absolutely,
Really?
are you kidding me?
What's Arnold's legacy?
He came, he saw, he conquered.
Two men who became the biggest action heroes of all time.
He has such a shirt maker, makes a shirt that has it poured underneath like diapers.
Magic's in the details, pal.
TMZ presents Arnold and Sly, rivals, friends, icons.
The way I see this is that both of you were kind of improbable movie stars, and yet you conquered Hollywood. You rose to the top of the mountain. There were only two of you at the top of the mountain. So why did each of you feel the need to push the other off the mountain?
I guess for that very reason, there's not that much room up there. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be on the point. I think it's something you're born with. I would go out for parts I knew I was wrong for, but I wanted them so bad. And I would tell the producer, director, I said, I know, I'm half the size, you want this and that, but I'll destroy this guy. And when he came along, I went, okay, finally, I have something that will really motivate me, because he is, dare I say it, competition, a threat, whatever words you want to use. And I mean, as soon as I saw him, it was like, bang, two alphas hitting. Yeah, if we walked into a party, we'd be like staring at each other for a few seconds, and then I gotta get that guy. I don't know, he didn't do anything wrong, but he will.
The one that started this whole thing was me. By opening up my mouth, saying stupid things, being competitive.
You come around here, you want to move in here with me? Come on here, it's my house.
Rocky came out, and I was like blown away by his acting and by the
right,
movie.
right.
And then after that, we were at the Golden Globes. And we both won. And so there was plenty of room for everybody.
But that's not the way I understand this. I thought you, when Rocky won Best Picture,
Yes.
you threw a bowl of flowers
I
at him.
absolutely did. He was sitting across from me, and I'm going, he won Best Newcomer. I go, no offense, but Rocky was a pretty good debut. And he's looking very proud of himself. And I didn't think we were gonna win Best Picture.
Rocky!
We win, and I lost it. I literally went and picked up this entire bouquet of flowers and tossed them straight up in the air, sort of aiming towards this side of the table. And it all comes down, he's just sitting there with the same kind of, like, okay, he just threw down the gauntlet kind of a thing, here we go.
You remember that?
I remember the incident, but it was not yet kind of like the point where I said, okay, this is now the beginning of a battle. You know, it just developed then from then on. Now I had to chase him. And then he did, Rocky 2, and then Rocky 3, and then he did all these movies, and it just kept going up and up. And I made, my salary was kind of like 10% of his. You know, when he got now $2 million, I got $200,000.
I think you were overpaid, but don't say anything.
When he made $5 million, I got the $500,000. So it was like, I had to kind of like chase behind him. I said, this has to stop. And every time I read this, I just got a new record number, $10 million. No
yeah, you
actor,
remember that?
yeah, no actor ever got 10 million. Not even Marlon Brando got $10 million. And I said to myself, son of a bitch. So I didn't boycott his movies or anything like this. I loved, when he did Rambo. I loved when he did Rocky.
You
I
realize
loved
this is
all
all
of this
news
stuff.
to me, but keep going.
I had to kind of catch up to that, right? So it gave me kind of a motivation, and this is what the whole thing was about. It became then very, very competitive, the whole thing.
I get what you're saying, that there were two of you and then far below other people. But in a way, were you guys a little bit in different lanes? Your movies were fantastical. They were almost science fiction-like.
Your clothes. Give them to me, now.
And you were more grounded in reality.
You ain't doing me no favors. You're embarrassing me in front of everybody. You can make me look bad in front of your sister. See the cigar? Or stick it in your ear. Now, don't do these things to me.
So, did you still see yourselves like in the same lane? Or wasn't there kind of a separation in what you were doing, at least at the beginning?
I always thought it was a big-time separation. For example, he was perfect for Terminator. I would never have been chosen for, you don't have crooked mouth, droopy eyes. If you're building something so technical and like precise, playing a robot, Arnold has the features, the chisel, the hair, the look. So he was always a different kind of action guy, I think. He was more of a precise, kind of a perfectionist. I was more freeform and more grounded, like you say. And I had to deal with what I had with. I didn't have his body, so I dealt more movements and being more stealth, more cat-like.
Don't push it. Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe.
And he was more powerful, like. Yet we achieved the same goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that you end up doing the things that you can do, and also the things that people are buying in on. The Terminator, which was a science fiction character.
Right.
Yeah, you can't have a machine that slurs. It doesn't work.
And then with Total Recall and with all of those movies, these were all, or in Running Man, these were all kind of like science fiction or futuristic type of movies. Yes, he was on a different track than I was, but still it was an end where we ended up kind of like, well, you killed 28 people in the movie. I killed 32.
I gotta top that.
So body count mattered.
So it was
count
not a
mattered.
body count. And then it was kind of like, well, what was your body fat? Well, I was down to 7%, so I said. And I said, I was down to 10%. So it became a competition with the body. And then there was kind of like, then he started using machine guns that were kind of like huge machine guns. I was running after him. He was not running after me. So I said, when we did Predator, I said, you got to get a machine gun that is normally mounted on a tank or on a helicopter. When Arnold, you can never hold it. I said, we figure out a way. I said, don't worry about it. I got to have a bigger gun, a bigger machine gun than I used in Rambo. So this is how it went. So then he killed, 80 people, that I had to kill 87 people.
And you got sucked into it too, because the difference between Rambo 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, you got
Body
bigger
weight,
guns, more body count, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Franco Colombo, my training partner,
Right.
was his trainer for Rambo.
Okay, throw it.
But I gotta tell you about Franco, man. This guy here, he was very eccentric, would you say?
Yeah.
And we're working out. He goes, let's have a competition for bench press. I said, you won. He goes, no, come anyway. I said, oh, man. So I go down, and it's maybe only 200, and I'm just warming up. I hear, pow! I go, ah! And I fall on the floor, and I'm going, ah! And then Franco goes, let me see. And he jams his fingers. I've torn my pec off the bone. I mean, bad. I could hear it go rip. And he's jamming his fingers in, and and I think I'm gonna black out. So I go home. I feel like my career is over. I'm supposed to start Rocky 2, directed everything in a month and a half. And I said, I gotta have this thing sewn up. And I said, and here's the difference. And he would have done the same thing. I can't use this arm. So I'll change it in Rocky. He'll fight right-handed.
He's fighting right-handed. I don't believe it. The southpaw until he is fighting right-handed.
And Mickey goes, at the very end, you'll switch and catch him off guard, which is completely illogical. But I said, I'm not stopping this movie just for this. And this was a bad
So you switched arms?
I switched arms. So in Rocky, that was one of the key things. But it's interesting the way these incredible journeys happen, but we don't stop. We don't quit.
One of my favorite stories about you guys was Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah.
He punked you. He punked you.
Yes, he
because
did.
you knew it was a bad script and acted like you wanted it. You got suckered in.
Yeah.
So he played you.
Yes, he did. He did, and I'm stuck with that forever.
First of all, when we talk about the movie, I didn't talk him into because I never talked to him about it, but it was very clear that his agent was telling my agent, look, Sly is interested in doing it, but I don't know if it's the right thing for him. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And then my agent said, well, you know, Arnold really loves it. I think it's fantastic. So then I called Roger Spottiswoode, who was the director, who just did the James Bond movie.
Oh my God.
And so he was kind of the hot director. So he was the right guy to go with.
Did you know this?
No.
So anyway, so I talked to Roger Spottiswoode. So just
You talked
so
to my director.
yeah. So,
Oh my God.
so my agent then said, well, Arnold is talking to Roger Spottiswoode now, and he's really into it. I think we're gonna take the project. And then, of course, his agent, knowing that he's competitive with me, he said, we cannot let that happen. And so he then called the studio right away and says, look, you gotta give this to Sly. Don't give it to Schwarzenegger, you gotta give this to Sly. And they said, fine, Sly got it. And so then he got the movie. So I was, of course, absolutely in heaven because I felt like the only way that I could catch up with him is if he has a stumble.
Can you get more Machiavellian?
It
I said,
is.
we got to go and have him have a failure.
Unbelievable.
It was psychological. This is a whole thing about in Hollywood, when you're always as good as your last movie. So I felt kind of like, okay, if Sly would stumble, and sure enough, when the movie came out, it was a disaster. You know, so I mean, so the day was hanging, and everyone was writing, you know, what the heydays are over for Sly. So I said to myself, okay, this is now a moment for me to catch up.
The way you talk, it makes me think that neither of you would be as successful without the other.
I can't agree to that. I think it helped because we came along in a certain era. The movies were transitioning. There were no such a thing as real action movies. You saw a car chase. You saw some gunplay. There was no action film where you actually said, okay, from beginning to end, this guy is in movement. He's doing things. He's making action happen. First Blood, which was almost a joke. I was the 11th choice. It was a cursed film, and that became my first action film, real action. No dialogue, no nothing. And then Arnold, his films also were very action-oriented. So we kind of started something that I don't think exists anymore, at least it doesn't, the way it was like a man against the world kind of thing. Now it's more of an ensemble against the world, you know?
But you said that he really kind of inspired you to work harder, to do better. So in a way, each of you helped the other.
Yeah. Well, there's no two ways about that. He was very helpful in my career because I had something that I could chase and that I could kind of like, oh, I have to be able to do this kind of a work. But at the same time, I think that what is important, and he did not mention yet, is that we have created a certain kind of an era.
Yeah.
And that is kind of like we were the first ones that did action movies and that were actually believable, that we could do the things that we did on the screen because of our muscular development, because of our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We were ripped, we had abs, we had deltoids, we looked totally believable that we could kind of do those kind of things. And so then you saw other kind of action heroes kind of changing quickly and going in, running to the gym, getting personal trainers and training, and then coming out and then looking also ripped and all this. And all of a sudden, it spread in movies, it spread on TV.
I have to stop right here and interrupt one time because you're absolutely right. A lot of guys did come out, but they weren't action guys. They were martial arts guys.
Right.
A whole other thing. And we didn't care about that. We were more different in the way we fought back. So I've only seen really maybe 2 or 3 real action guys, and the rest are kind of hyphenate martial arts guys, which is a whole other thing. You know, you come into a room and you fight 20 guys and no one pulls a gun. Our films were more of an adventure and totally different. And neither one of us know a thing about martial arts, but we know how to bust a head or two.
Run over him!
Hey, I'm over there, but here's some trouble.
We created that era. Now there are a lot of actors that are living off that era. And they're copying that, and they're very, very successful in doing so.
What's your favorite Schwarzenegger movie?
Terminator 2 is like perfect film.
Get down.
Wouldn't you agree? It's like everything about it was just spot on. It had new CGI, it had new inventives, it had a good villain. I think he really excelled in that.
What about your favorite Sly movie?
Stop or my mom will shoot, that's it. It's okay. And I'll say Junior.
Rambo 2.
Rambo 2,
Yeah.
wow.
Without any doubt.
My favorite is Rambo 4.
Can I get psychological for a minute? You both had really tough upbringings, both of you. Almost horrific, in a way. There's this famous poem. It's called "Children Learn What They Live." And a part of the poem is, if children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children live with hostility, they learn to fight. When you guys look at your childhood, because I'm really fascinated by it, because I had a rough childhood too, and I can relate to some of what you guys went through. When you think about your childhood, what carried forward with you to this day? Because you don't shed it, you don't forget it, it doesn't go away. So what is it in your childhood that is still part of you, good or bad?
Well, I have a lot of sadness, you know, because I think about what could have been. It didn't have to be so bad, and it was bad.
Yeah, both your parents, especially your mom, were just abusive and cruel.
I think that a lot of people go, oh, that's what made you what you are today. I think it's a lie. I think that I am who I am. If I had been encouraged and someone more supportive, I think it would have been even better. But instead, I had to try to overcome all these insecurities and doubting from the parents to overcome that and succeed. But you bring with you a lot of bittersweet feelings, and you try not to convey that onto your new family, but that's part of your makeup. I don't believe that which does not kill you makes you stronger. Usually that which doesn't kill you, it kills you, or almost comes close to it. And you carry scar tissue inside, and it kills me. I mean, I'm a very, really emotional person, and I think, you know, I think that people that have had horrible upbringings, it's a terrible burden to lay on anyone. And parents should just they don't realize it, because they were treated like crap. And it's a vicious cycle that goes on. So I can't just blame it on them, because when I go back and I look at my mother's upbringing, you know, orphanages and this and that, and my father's, they had, you know, they were angry. And they just thought, that's the way I'm gonna pass it on. You're not gonna be happy if I'm not happy.
Your dad was angry a lot too.
Yeah, my dad was angry, and you know, everyone after the Second World War over there was angry. They lost the war. You know, the ass was handed to them by the Americans. So my father came back from the war with wounds, broken back, malaria, shrapnels in his legs and stuff like that. So he went through a lot of pain afterwards. So because of the drinking, there was violence at home. So he would come home and smack us around sometimes for reasons and sometimes for no reasons. And he would show brutality sometimes to my mother. And the reason why I never kind of think back in a negative way is, unlike Sly, I just don't have it in me to look at my father and say, son of a bitch, why did you do that, or anything like that. I felt kind of what, I don't really know the pain he had and why he drank and all the stuff that was in him and all that stuff. And on top of it, I said to myself, if I would have grown up like some people do with all the love in the world, I would have never left home. I would have stayed in Austria. It's not the kind of life that would have made me happy. I always felt kind of I was a citizen of the world, not a citizen of Austria.
But you don't think you would have done that anyway?
No.
Oh,
I think that what drove me was I had such a need to create my own world. I had to get out of that misery at home.
And you're almost turning the misery into a blessing.
Yeah, so it was a blessing in a way because, so again, I disagree with Sly because my brother, Meinhard, he died. He died because his reaction was to become an alcoholic himself. One day driving with a car and then hitting a telegraph post, one of those big things, and just smashed into it and got killed. So, but that was because of that upbringing. And this is why I do believe in what does not kill you make you stronger, because it killed my brother, but it made me stronger.
You and I had no choice. We were going to do something. You escaped in the bodybuilding, I escaped in the theatrics because I wasn't too happy with the reality. So I said, this is my world, because I don't like this one. I think that we were going to do it no matter what. It just would have been nice with a little bit more encouragement, that's all.
And the Oscar goes to Robert Downey Jr.
When Robert Downey Jr. at the Oscars said, when he received his Oscar,
I'd like to thank my terrible childhood.
I immediately could relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he went through trouble and pain. I don't know exactly the story, but for him to thank his upbringing means that motivated him and got him going into a different direction rather than staying in the upbringing.
You both have kids who grew up with a lot of privilege that you didn't have.
Yeah.
So how did you guys raise kids when they can't see what you saw?
Right.
Other than the fact that you're this incredibly famous, wealthy two guys, and they're looking at this, in this mansion. How do you raise kids with those values?
I'll tell you, I've always said that everyone's father is tougher than them. It's just their life was tougher, it was harder. And then their grandfather, think about it.
Yeah, but the difference between you two and your parents
is worldly.
Yeah.
It's worlds apart. Well, the difference between us and our children, we really had to grovel, and it was tougher back then. Today, it's a whole different world. They're presented with so much, not just rich people, even poor kids. And there's so much technology, this and that I think it's really put a damper on people's inspiration and this ability to go out and explore for themselves. It comes right to you on a phone, all this stuff.
He's giving you advice on what to wear on Golden Globe night.
Definitely not him.
Not him. He's the worst.
Definitely not him.
No, he's done better. He's done better.
You can tell.
I try to teach my kids, and I think he does too, is really understand that you are privileged. And I just want you to be nice. I want you to be empathetic to people. I want you to be polite and understand that you were given this gift. It just didn't come out of the ground. When you see a guy working there, pushing a broom thing, working on a roof, he doesn't want to do that. He wasn't born to say, hey, I can't wait to go tar a roof in the summer. So be empathetic to people that don't have what you have. And my girls have been just fantastic. And they've picked up our habits, and they are industrious. They imitate. My wife is incredibly industrious, so my daughters have carried on that tradition.
Our kids would not kind of create that same kind of hunger and that desire and that fire in the belly that we had because of our upbringing. So that only comes with that upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, you urge to move away, to go and explode, and to get out of there because you get the beating all the time there. So that hunger, I think, would not be the case with our kids.
No.
But that does not mean that you cannot bring them up to be successful. I was very lucky that I had a wife that was really good in raising the kids. Maria was excellent in that. And so I was gone twice a year for 3 months, sometimes 6 months on a movie set. So of course she ended up 80% of the time to make up a number raising the kids. And she did an extraordinary job with their education and with their moral codes and with all of those kind of things. My kids all had to wash their own clothes, they all had to wash their own bedwear. And every so often when I saw them cheating and someone else did it, I grabbed their mattresses and I threw it off the balcony of their bedroom. And sometimes into the, sometimes
Okay.
into.
Now we're getting somewhere.
And the TV.
No, but then they had to drag it up there again
They had
and
to
they have
bring
to
it
make
up
the bed
themselves,
again.
right.
Because I detected they didn't make the bed. It was too nicely made. I just want to compliment you here for a second and just say this. One of the things that I learned over the years of what great of a family man Sly is and how he deals with his daughters and with his family and the whole thing like this. You know, when you go up to visit someone at their house, and then you go to parties or to a dinner or something like that, you see the dynamics and what's going on there. And I watch this reality TV show and all this stuff.
Hey, come here, little.
And it is just really, he's on it and he's supportive and he's really terrific as a dad. And he's learned from what his father did that he doesn't want to do and does the opposite. So I think it is really terrific.
I'm going to run for governor of
I've always wanted to ask you this. I know you supported Arnold when he ran for governor.
I did.
What I'm wondering is, did you do it so you could get him out of the movie business?
Yes, actually. You read through me, did you? Oh my God. I thought it was so insane what he did. I said, I gotta see this. And he pulled it off. Can you believe it? It's just, it's who he is. Did you ever have a plan B?
No. As a matter of fact,
there you go.
In my book, Be Useful, I talk about don't have a plan B. There's no such thing
There you
as a
go.
plan B because
I never
it's
asked
kind
him
of
that.
like saying, I want a safety net. I'm not a safety net kind of a guy. It's you yourself that is doubting you. And that's the most dangerous one. Not that someone out there is doubting you, but that you are doubting you. Now you're fighting yourself.
Right.
And that is an absolute no-no. This is a formula for disaster.
In 1987, you went to a joint that I used to have breakfast at, Patrick's Roadhouse in Pacific Palisades. And you had a secret breakfast meeting talking about Rambo versus Predator. Why didn't that happen?
I think, because we've had this happen a couple times. There was a John Hughes comedy, wasn't there? We were talking about battling neighbors because we couldn't agree on that. So at that time, it was kind of still strange.
Duke and Fluffy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was like that.
Duke and Fluffy? Who was Fluffy?
I was supposed to be a dog, and he's supposed to be a cat, and we're supposed to, in the daytime, we are regular neighbors, and that hate each other, and at night we are animals, you know, and then we attack each other and all that stuff.
I kind of like that.
It was a funny idea, but he went off doing a movie, and I went, so it never really happened.
What do you admire most about him?
His dedication and his passion. I wish I could be as passionate about things as he is. He's so passionate.
Is that true?
And you'll be absolutely.
Really?
Are you kidding me? When you talk about scripts, or when you talk about your characters that you play in movies, or when you talk about movies, there's just so much passion there. It's really unbelievable, and it must come from somewhere, because he's a very emotional guy, which I'm not. I'm emotional, but not like him.
You're very different, the two of you.
We're very, very different in that way. You can tell alone just the way we are dressed, right? I mean, he has, of course, a
gonna dress like
blazer.
this.
This jacket, I guarantee you, cost $10,000 from David August or something like that. Who knows who made it?
Hey.
And mine is like a second kind
That'll
of
come back
hand-me-down
someday, don't worry.
leather jacket. I have old cowboy boots on, and he, look at this, the alligator loafers.
What do you admire about him most?
I'm not even finished yet with what I admire about him. I always have painted my whole life, right, for my children. And so I painted in school, you know, the little paintings like that. Then I go and see his art and his paintings. I tell you, it is absolutely spectacular.
Oh, stop.
I do everything little.
Right.
Like this, you know, and I make fine lines and then make everything very accurate in orders. And he says, no. He says, Arnold, you got to be more daring. You got to open up a little bit. So I go up to his house and he has this big paintbrush with 15 kind of different colors. Goes in there like this and he starts smacking it down on the canvas. And I said to myself, can you believe the balls this guy has? He just makes a commitment with all of this paint, and then he goes and all of a sudden, in no time, he creates this really colorful, unbelievable kind of modern type of a painting and stuff like that. His big paintings go like sometimes for several $100,000.
What I admire most about him is he's rock steady. He's like a season that doesn't change. It's like bang on, very organized, very calculated, very thoughtful. I'm not. And he's right, I'm very emotional, and I tend to be swayed, and things can upset logic quite often, and that's when you make mistakes, when your brain overwhelms your heart, or your heart overwhelms your brain, I should say, and he's, I don't know what he's thinking, see what I mean? He's like a chess player. You don't know what's going on, but he gets it done, and he really does have a big heart. He does. I mean, you wouldn't think it, because we're action guys, but we're more emotional than a lot of more dramatic actors, trust me. Do not think for a second we're not hypersensitive, especially coming from the way where we came from. We're very, especially with criticism, it's very profound on us, very profound.
So when you get bad reviews, they hurt.
Oh yeah, don't just criticize. Stallone's career is more mysterious than crib death. I mean, that's how bad it gets. I mean, brutal.
Well, you got one where they said you felt you got the worst review since Hitler.
There you go.
You said that.
Yeah, and it's true. Did I really?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my God. But it's true.
I remember when we did the villain with Kirk Douglas and Anne Margaret, they said to me, the horse had better facial expressions than I had. I mean, what the hell? So I paid no attention to this stuff.
There are a lot of differences with you guys, like we've talked about. The big similarity that I see is both of you have put your bodies through hell. The image that I always think of is the two of you on gurneys getting ready for shoulder surgery at the same time.
That was by accident.
But was this worth it to put your body, because I know that it causes pain. You've been in the hospital a bunch. You've had all sorts of operations. I mean, you have, what, 7 back operations?
3 neck fusions, shoulders, everything.
Yeah, I had endless amount of heart surgeries. He had back surgery. I mean, we have our surgeries, have shoulder surgeries, this shoulder, you know, the knees, both knees, hip replacement, and all that kind of stuff.
I got a lot of injuries in this movie, believe me. I was attacked by wolves. I was attacked by a vulture.
Do you ever wake up and just say, why did I do this?
I do. I got the pleasure, as Tony Robbins, the pleasure was not worth the pain. I liked doing some of it, but there was a point when I should have slowed it down and used the pro.
Apollo unloading a left. He really dragged him up against the rope. He's going back and down.
Rocky's things really wiped me out from snapping the head all the time.
Again, a hard right.
Dolph Lundgren, you told him to hit you and you ended up in the hospital for 9 days.
He almost killed me.
Yeah.
That was freakish accident. It was just freakish.
But you asked for it.
I did ask for it, but I didn't think he'd hit so hard, you know, that kind of a thing. But yeah, I think I talk to my wife every day about it, so absolutely not worth it in the sense that you don't know when to quit. I should have stopped right before the first Expendables. That's what did me in. I never was whole from that point on.
So it's always easy to go and say, okay, now I'm 76 years old or 77, and I should have not done this, done that, because that's what hurt me. What does it matter? The bottom line is we had a great time what we did. We love to take risks.
But you couldn't have stunt doubles because you were so big. So you did a lot of your own stuff.
Yeah, I did. There was no choice, really, because when I was in Spain and there was no stunt guy around that looked like me.
But it's all flipped now, that you have stunt guys who are big like you were, but now the action heroes are small.
I know.
I mean, Timothy Chalamet, Mark Ruffalo, Austin Butler.
I know.
Everyone would agree, if there is a Mount Rushmore of action heroes, you have 2 of the 4 spots. I think everybody agrees with that. Who are the other 2?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one.
I would put Clint on it. Clint Eastwood was always my hero, my inspiration. He was one of those guys, just like Reg Park in bodybuilding, that spent time with me and talked to me. The 4th guy you have to come up with. I think I already came up with.
I think it goes to Bruce. He's a very multifaceted guy. He can do drama and comedy and whatever, and all the same. But he was in quite a few seminal action films that really, like Die Hard's a classic, and those things don't go away.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor.
Can't see her. She's making a statement.
I'll be back.
What's Arnold's legacy?
Well, being the all-time triple threat. He came, he saw, he conquered. That's it. Really simple. It's not original, but it's true.
What's his legacy?
Someone that did some of the most extraordinary movies.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
And inspired endless amount of people to get into the movie business and to be writers and directors and actors.
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys, you kind of changed my life. Because both of you are so inspirational when it comes to risk-taking. And you, just the idea that you so believed in what you were doing that you were willing not to sell Rocky if it wasn't on your terms, and you stuck by that. And just all the things you did that seemed so improbable, that you came to the United States with 20 bucks. And I knew about this early on in my career, and it inspired me, and it made me work harder, and it made me determined. And this is such an honor, and I mean that. And I thank you so much for sitting with me and talking. It means the world to me.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Thank you.
I bet any money Harvey is not ready for this interview.
He's not ready?
No. I guarantee
I'm tired of
he did
working
not
with
prep.
amateurs.
You guys did a good job.
Oh, thank you. We're going to exchange pacemakers. That'd be great.
Now Arnold and Sly's medical show.
Here we go.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We can do a long strip.
Autopsies.
Is this the
guys.
other jacket you wanted to put on, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah, it is. There is like.
Oh, God. Let me see if it's David August.
You're breaking my balls because you feel like dressing like the lowly
David
one.
August. That is David August. What did I say? On the show, David August.
Oh my God, you were right. You even knew the designer. That's hysterical.
Feel this cashmere shirt, cashmere jacket.
Altoona.
Right,
Get it right.
Oh my God, you got the design.
This is unbelievable.
It's better than cashmere.
I'm telling you.
Sly has nicer clothes than me, so.
Yes, definitely nicer clothes than all of us. Look at this. So I go to visit his set. So then he goes and he says, Arnold, I don't like when your shirts are baggy here. So I said, what am I going to do about it? I said, sometimes when you go like this, it pulls out, and this is, come with me. He goes in his dressing room, in his trailer, and he pulls down his pants. His shirt has something that goes underneath his crotch out
It's a stirrup.
to keep the shirt pulled down. Who thinks about this?
That's why you said when he sat down.
Yes,
That's why you said that.
but who thinks about this?
I just ordered another dozen.
He has a shirt maker makes a shirt that has it pulled down and it's like diapers, and then pulled up on the other hand so the shirt
like a
stays
girth.
down because God forbid you're doing a movie and there's a wrinkle in the shirt, as if that is not natural.
Magic's in the details, pal.
So this is what goes on here.
Unless you want to hold my tails down, you know?
Mr. Cashmere. And look at the shoes. Look at the alligator. The loafers. I mean, all right, thank you. I feel sorry for you. Bye-bye. See you.
That was so great.